This is Alex from Halo Software, and in this video, I'm going to give you an overview of our software product, Amanda. So Amanda is a scheduling software for universities, and it handles both the lecture and exam timetabling problems. It helps users to accurately enter data about an institution, and it generates a corresponding timetable which is free of conflict. Beyond that, it optimizes the timetable to enhance learning to make life easy for all relevant parties. So we'll be looking at some lecture and exam timetable samples that the software generates. But before then, we'll take a look at the admin section of the software and how campus and department administrators work with data in the software. So if you have several roles in the university, you might see a list of departments here that you can select from. And here we'll select business admin. The department admin has the responsibility of managing the entities that are involved in generating a timetable. And on the menu on the left, he or she has a right to manage courses, lectures, students, classes, and exams. Most of this information can be brought in from the existing student information system, but there are times when you might want to create some entities manually by clicking on the create new button for any type of entity. So here we can create a new course, or we can create a new lecture. Lecturers have something we call constraints, and student groups also have constraints. And constraints just refers to restrictions on a lecturer or a student group's time. So constraints can limit this lecturer called Adam Bede from, let's say, taking lectures on Mondays and Wednesdays. All right, so student groups refer to a set of students who enter the university at the same time and are taking the same or a similar set of courses. So in a software, you can manage student groups on this page. Yes, and you can also specify constraints for student groups. You can create a student group using this functionality, and you can also specify constraints for student groups, just like how we saw for lecturers. All right. So timetabling essentially revolves around classes, and you will have to create a class for every lecture that students are going to sit in for. Now, a class is just a course that students are taking, having a duration, and taught by one, and is taught by one or more lecturers. So you would usually specify the most important pieces of data about classes are just a course and then the duration. And other pieces of information that might be handy are if the lecture is happening online, whether the lecture is yet to be arranged, and a ton of other fields that you might want to set for various kinds of scenarios. Alright, so exams are created automatically from examinable classes. So there's not much work to be done with regards to exams. Just in case you have to create one manually, you can just click on this create new button here and you can create an exam. Alright, so the software also has functionality for editing the generated timetable at the departmental level, and you can you can, on the menu, you can just come to timetable and click on edit lecture timetable. So edit lecture timetable takes you to the timetable editor, and on the timetable editor you have the timetable of the entire department on a grid. You can unfix a lecture by double clicking on it, saying OK, and fixing it at a different location. We can fix this on Monday. Alright, so when you unfix a lecture, it becomes an unscheduled class and appears in this yellow box at the top here. So I've touched on the most important features of managing data on a department, and you would usually switch the semester here. If you want to work on a different semester, you can always switch that at the top here. And the help center is also always available by clicking on this question mark button. So to switch a row, you click on the button at the top left corner of the screen, and you can move to, if you have the rights to manage the campus, you can just click on the campus's name and it takes you to the campus admin panel. So this is a university called Sicily University, and over here you are going to provide basic information about that university, and you might be setting the default semester whenever there's a new semester. So at the campus admin, you'll be setting up a lot of the data when the software is first being deployed, and much of the data here is not going to be changing. Occasionally you might have to make edits to, let's say, venues and buildings and maybe departments and users, but most of the data here doesn't change much. So there's functionality for defining a timetable grid for the entire university, and it's called a layout designer. You can create a layout and use a layout designer to specify how many days are going to be in a week, or how many slots are going to be in a day. Alright, so this functionality helps you define the timetable grid for the entire university. You can be marking specific slots as non-teaching times for the entire university. Alright, so once every piece of data about the university is set for a semester, the administrator can click, at the click of a button, the administrator can generate a timetable. The software first checks if every piece of data is correct and then generates a timetable and a corresponding timetable which is free of conflict. Now, when the timetable is being generated, if it's not able to generate to 100%, it means that there are one or more classes with constraints on them which are preventing them from finding a slot in the timetable. In that case, you can view diagnostic information about those classes that will help you remedy the situation. So to view diagnostics, you can click on this menu item, diagnostics, and over here we can see that a student group is overloaded in one case, and in another case another student group is also overloaded. And the diagnostics feature specifies remedy for any situation, and fixing the issue is going to clear that, and fixing an issue will usually resolve the problem. So essentially that's how to manage data for a campus. We'll take a look at a few sample timetables and how students and lecturers can access their timetables. Now the timetables that are going to be shown here can be brought into the existing student information system using an API, and students may never have to come and check their timetables here. So a student can select his or her department and select their student group, and voila, that's your timetable for a week. The same timetable can be viewed as a grid. Yes, and can be printed or downloaded as a PDF here. Lecturers can also view their timetables. You can view the timetable of the entire university on a grid, which is called a composite timetable. And you can also view a master timetable, which is the timetable of the entire university in chronological order, which is a searchable list. Right, so in the same way, we can also view exam timetables for students. Alright, so the exam timetable from the very first day in the exam period to the very last day in the examination period. And there are supervision timetables. Supervision timetables have to do with lecturers. I tell you again, supervision timetables have to do with invigilators and examiners. And the supervision master timetable here that we are seeing has all the invigilators for every exam and which rooms they are invigilating in and what exams are happening in those rooms. Clicking on the seating button here gives you a list of students and which seats they are occupying for a specific exam. So essentially that's how Amanda works.